Hello everyone, my name's FlareBlitzed and welcome back to Missing Time. In the last time, we was at the climax of the secret ending, but now there is new content awaiting in the game, and you may notice that there's a subtle difference with the menu, which says time goes on. So in this, there is alternate gameplay in which if you don't do something within a certain fraction of time, then previously the game would say, you gotta try this again, or in this time around now, things will proceed differently. So, new game, and we'll just go through the game as we would do normally, and obviously I'll be skipping through until we get to that point, so be right back, folks. You just had to come back and bite us, didn't you, game? Honestly. If you guys have played this game already, which I hope you've had, then you kinda can guess as to what's going on here. We're just letting time transpire by. I'm sorry, Shiharu, I really am, but in order to perceive a new story, unfortunately you're gonna have to go. Shiharu! School! Storeroom! I rushed back to school as fast as I could. My phone doesn't seem to work. I tried to call police, ambulance, even Ember, but all I got back was static. Maybe you should have run someone else like Emery. The school is closed, but I never slow down. Vaulting straight over the gate as I dashed down the hall until I reached the storage room. I yanked the door open. Shiharu! And the red flash comes to you, which you know now what happens. I drop to my knees. The bar that I have been keeping down overflows, and I vomit at the unfolded scene. Yikes. On the cold, dusty floor is Shiharu's mangled body. Eyes wide open, her face is contorted in pain. Her entrails spill over her uniform, mangled as if attacked by a wild animal. Ember. Oh God. Shiharu! I slump beside her remains. The smell of death penetrates my senses, and my eyes blur until there is only redness in my sight. I reach out, heedless of the wet, sticky blood staining my hand. Her body is still warm, a fresh killing. I shake her shoulder, stomach churning at how limp her muscles are. No! Shiharu! Why did this have to happen? Shiharu, wake up! Come on, wake up! Ember said she's going to bring you food. Not when you are food to Ember. Shiharu, we still have that trip where Shiharu kills you. Where you kill me. Wake up, Shiharu, please. Not gonna happen. Continue on. We didn't get this. Continue on. It rains on Chiharu's funeral. But why we still got this CG though? Why are we still on this CG? Oh, no. Come on, this has got to be a bit of an error. She graced me with a cat-like grin. I wish we could see it, but I think this is an error. There, that looks less red now. I think it was the game telling me that I should not have done what I did, which was to left Chiharu to die. It rains on Chiharu's funeral. Makes sense, because she has taken sunshine away with her. Not many people show up at reception, just her parents, myself and family, and a scant few schoolmates. The club members show up as well, though briefly. Emery is a given, seeing that she is performing the funeral rites, cold and precise as ever. Shizeo, because she lives here, hangs her head, hands clasped before her abdomen, offering quiet prayers and condolences. Yeah, you know what you did. Ember, jaws tight and eyes narrowed, arrives briefly before leaving just as quickly. You subconsciously know what you did. The junior who had been hanging out with Shiharu, Samari, was it? Also comes. Silent tears in her eyes and pale lips tremble quietly as she lights an incense stick. I just feel numb. At the request of Shiharu's mother, I will stay with the family to receive those who come to offer respect. I didn't think much about it. I couldn't, because if I did, something resentful would manifest. and I don't want to bear such thoughts today. Like how I and my grandpa had been much more of a family to Shiharo than them. I closed my eyes and sucked in a shuddering breath, calming the emotion that desperately wants to rear its ugly head. At least Shiharo would be missed. I glanced at her father, who meets every visitor with a stoicism that rivals Emery's. A surge of bitterness lurches in my stomach. I don't remember much of him, but he was never there in the short time I shared with Shiharo. But I remember the light died in Shiharu's eyes when she mentioned him. How forced her easy smile always became. How sad and distant she turned whenever her father was mentioned. How he never bothered to visit, not until his own daughter's funeral. I wonder if he feels a shred of remorse or guilt over this. If he regretted not being there for Shiharu when she needed someone most. She needed you, and you weren't there. I squeezed my eyes shut. They cremated her to bring her with them when they are done here in Kamachi. I wanted to scream when I heard the announcement. They didn't want to be with her, and now they dare to take her away in death? That after everything, after the suffering she had to go through in life, after her terrible end. How unfair it is that all that remains of her smile is a cold silver urn. But it isn't my place to say anything. It isn't. I want to cry. I really want to. But my eyes burn day after day. Burn dry after days of mourning, and the dramatic sobs of Shiharu's mother grate on my nerves. My hands curl into fists, tucked away under my sleeves. I can't. I don't deserve to. If only I'd been faster. If only I checked on her. If only I'd put my foot down and refused to join this stupid club. If only. Nails bite into the skin of my palm. The knot in my chest expands, threatening to suffocate me. I wish it did. The reception ceremony, if one could call it that, end within an hour. Or even less so. People disperse, making their way off to the mountain. In a few hours, they'll be thinking of something else. In a few days, they'll forget about Shiharu. In a few months, she will be just another name in the string of unfortunate events. Unable to help myself, I glanced at her parents, chatting quietly to mine, before staring at the picture behind the urn. Shiharu is smiling. My heart twists. Tomorrow when I come to school, I won't be seeing her anymore. There won't be a flustered smile beaming at me over carefully packed bento boxes. There won't be embarrassed chiding over my teasing words. No texts with pictures of elaborate desserts at night. No restaurant recommendations. No quietly excited gossips whispered in the hallways. Shiharu is gone. The light of the school is gone. Shiharu is gone. What do you want to talk about? Ember seems a bit agitated. She keeps her face neutral, but her feet shift every other second. Her hands fidget constantly, as if not quite knowing where to place them. Her nostrils flare. Her shoulders roll back and forth unsteadily. I take note of all of this, my own face impassive. I'm resigning. Effective immediately. What? Flare, this is... I cut in, not letting Ember run off of her mouth. I joined the occult club because of Shiharu. Now that she is gone, I don't have a reason to stay anymore. Oh, of course there's a reason too. Well, Shiharu's death is because of... Don't you dare! My snap immediately draws attention to us. Even Ember seems shocked at my outburst. I square up my shoulders, not even caring that she could possibly thrash me with a couple of punches. Yeah, she always would. I don't care. I don't want to hear what Ember is trying to suggest. I know exactly what she is going to suggest, and I would be damned if I let her rub whatever is left of Shiharu's memories into one of her stupid theories. I don't care about what you think happened. Say whatever you want. Speculate whatever you want to speculate, but don't do it in front of me. I quit and that's the end of it. Whispers rise around us. A flash of rage sparks in Ember's mismatched eyes, but I'm done. Turning around on my heels, I march off to the faculty room to request a formal club transference. As long as it's not the occult club or the cooking club, I don't give a flying damn. And there she goes. Will that be the last time we'll see of Ember, though? I doubt it. Like, I don't give a flying damn about this disgruntled counsellor giving me the stink eye for my request. But there's a spot opening at the journalism club. I'll take it. Anything to get away from the occult club. Hey! There's our new character, Samari. We never got to see your sprite before in the other version of the game, which we shedded tears into. Shedded many hours and many tears for. And now we get this. And someone else as well. She must also be in a journalism club. Oh, you're our new member. Stunned, speechless, I can only curl my hands into fists. I didn't expect to see someone like her. Someone who remembers Shiharu. Komachi really likes messing with me. Hiya, fellow investigator. Nice of you to join us today. Blankly, I stare at the other girl who appears behind Samari, eyes sparkling behind glasses, saluting me like she was some sort of anime heroine. Because this really is an anime. I pretend not to see Samari suddenly elbowing her ribs, and the two of them suddenly exchange a hushed, if not rapid conversation over their breaths. I look away, feeling my anger rise. Inhaling deeper, I count to 10 in my head, coughing politely to regain my attention. The other girl offers a hand, her smile more subdued this time. I'm Kanako. That name seems familiar. Not her first name, but the second name. Ichino's. Nice to meet you. Flare. Welcome to the journalism club. Journalism. My bad, folks. I'm Samari Murasaki, Vice President. We'll take good care of you here, Flare. I shake their preferred hands carefully. They straighten up quickly, exchanging a look before Kanako excuses herself to prepare for the meeting. Samari shifts from one foot to another, a bit at loss when I don't say anything. So, what brings you to the journalism club? Things, okay? Rapid things have been happening, I'm sure you must know. I need to join a club as per school requirement. Oh, that's a different expression than what I expected. Oh. Her expression shutters off, deflated. That sparks some guilt within me. Smiley didn't do anything wrong. She was kind enough to welcome me. I shouldn't take up my frustration at her. Indeed you shouldn't. She hasn't done anything to you. Sorry, I didn't mean... Pause and I take a deep breath, then try again. What are the activities you have here? This visibly brightens Samari. She graces me with a cat-like grin. We write articles, of course. We have the school papers, a blog, and all social media handles are under our care. The board does screen our stuff before publishing, of course, but other than that, we have full range of the topics and contents. I let Samari go on with her explanation. Nodding along as she introduced me to the rest of the club. Most of them are lower classmen like Samari and Kanako, and they all shoot me curious glances, but have enough decency to pry. There are a total of 15 members in this club, a huge increase from the occult club. After 10 minutes here, I can understand why it's so popular. The atmosphere is admissible. Everyone is chipping in, and no opinion is disregarded. Everyone is either assigned to their own project or to work in a group. The main topic of discussion is the upcoming midterm news, and everyone is welcome to chime in what they would like to do, what column they want to write for. Lips pressed together, I feel rather content. Just watching how the club functions as part of my first day. It's a new experience, a refreshing experience from the occultic-like nature of the previous one which we was into. It's a new experience, and I let the chatter of those around me lower my mind into a sense of security, a state of blankness. I wonder if there was 2 spots available at the journalism club. Like, hypothetically, Shiharu and our character would be more accommodating to this club, but also Shiharu would still be here, because Ember, Shizeo, and Emery would have never have known them. Well, Emery can take her out of the picture, but Ember and Shizeo, they're the culprits here. Perhaps this I can live with. At first, probably can tolerate with. The inevitable comes in the form of Shizeo, blocking me off on my way to lunch. Shizeo is wide-eyed, with an expression mixed between surprise and worry. Her greeting comes out tentative, as if I would bolt upon seeing her. Hey, Flare. How have you been? Well enough. I packed myself a bit too much food today. Want to join me for lunch? The way she holds out the bento box, and expectant smiles on her lip, something twists painfully in my heart. I want to decline. But Shizeo loops her free hand around the crook of my elbow when I take a moment too long to answer, and maneuvers me outside. My mouth opens, a protest on the tip of my tongue, but Shizeo speaks over me easily. Don't worry, there's nothing home cooked. I'm not going to poison you with my cooking skill, you know. So, is that why you don't cook? We have a private chef at the shrine, and he's pretty good. All the vegetarian stuff, though, so apologies in advance. Hey, there are some good vegetarian meals out there, I'll have you know. Although I would always select something which has meat in it on the menu. But, I'm just saying, it would not be the end of the world if meat was never a thing. Shizeo, I know, Shizeo, a vegetarian. The world is coming to an end. Don't we just love seeing those scissor excited faces of yours, Shizeo? It's like a rule at the shrine. Lunches are vegetarian only. If I want some meat, I've got to go out and find you. I've got to find some if you get what I mean. Shizeo, I appreciate the banter, but this is not the time and place for it, okay? Vivacuously, she winks at me. Words die in my mouth, and my cheeks burn. Shizeo! It wouldn't be Shizeo if we don't get a joke like that every once in a while. The moment we set her down on the steps outside, something just freezes in the pit of my stomach, clenching the bento tier Shizeo hands me. My mind blanks out, not registering even a single word she was saying. The bento is nothing like what Shiharu used to prepare for us. The box is liqueured black and red, so polished I can see my reflection on the side. Artfully decorated with plum blossoms, it's a far cry from the mess of cute stickers Shiharu stamps on just about everything she owned. The food was immaculate, with silken tofu and dried nori flakes, Cantonese sushi and oboboshi origami with a side of seaweed salad. And yet, if I close my eyes right now, I can just hear Shiharu's embarrassed giggles, her excited but shy rambles about the food, how she accidentally prepared too much again. The corners of my eyes burn. Flare? Yeah, it would be apparent that Shizeo packed this in a similar box in comparison to what Shiharu would do. But it could just be a coincidence. But I think Shizeo knows more than what she lets on. Blinking, my head snaps up to look at Shizeo. Like summer clouds, memories of Shiharu's laughter drift away, leaving only the rain behind. Flare, are you alright? It's painful to swallow around the lump in my throat. It's difficult to bite back anything venomous, to not just throw the food at Shizeo and leave. Lashing out at the people around me won't bring Shiharu back. No, it wouldn't. It won't. I'm fine. Thanks for the food. It's not too bland, is it? I'm sorry, I should have asked her ahead of time. It's not the food. Sorry. We sink into uncomfortable silence. We both look away, not knowing what to say to each other. Out of courtesy, I take a bite of the tofu. I'm sure on a different day, under different circumstances, it would have tasted good. Great, even. But right now, it doesn't taste of anything. It tastes emotionless. Right now, though, it tastes like ash in my mouth. Shizeo hasn't touched most of her food either. Keeps sending me glances instead. She does like she wants to say something but hesitates, which is very unlike her. No, we'll be polite and ask. We'll do the kind thing and ask. What is it? Huh? What is? What do you want to talk about? You called me out here for a reason, right? Oh my, how bold. Can't I just want to share a meal with a friend? I level her with an unimpressed look. Fine, fine. You win. I gotta say, I like this new side of yours. Shizeo. Shizeo shifts. shifted around a little, a tinge of nervousness in her eyes as she shoots glances at me. Finally, she lets out a long breath, tucks her hair behind her ears, and stares at me straight in the eye. So, you quit the occult club? It's a statement. Biting back my own sigh, I put down the bento box. Yes. You talks to Ember? I shrug. Shazaya winces. She's a bit upset over it. Upset over me leaving, or upset over the club's quota being missed? Her silence speaks volume. I'll hold her still until Shazaya turns away first. I don't think the occult club is going to last past this month. Yeah, there's only 3 members. Well, really, there's only 2 now. That does give me a pain of guilt. Ember is passionate about the club, and without me being there, she doesn't have enough members to keep it going. But that shouldn't be my responsibility. I was only there because of Shiharu. Without her there, I already signed up for a different club. Oh wow, didn't waste any time, did you? It's part of the school requirements. But, I'm not here to ask you to go back to the club. I understand you need some distance. I narrow my eyes at her. Shizeo sighs again, then attempts a small smile at me. I just want to see if you're doing alright. It is my turn to look away, avoiding her imploring eyes. Something like guilt rears up its head once more. I'm growing tired of this feeling. But isn't it all I've been feeling lately? If not guilt, then grief or anger, or all of them mixed up together. Lots of emotions combined. Very powerful. Tearing at me until I lay jaded and sleepless in my bed, as the images of Shiharu's cold body flashes in my mind. I'm coping. Shizaya's lips tighten, her eyebrows knitting together. You know, just because you're no longer in the club doesn't mean that we can't be friends anymore. We can hang out whenever you want. We can text. I don't know. Play some games. You play games? Sure I do. Who doesn't? Yeah, nowadays who doesn't play a game, even if it's just like a 5-minute mobile game? Shiharu didn't. Her reaction time wasn't great, and she got scared easily. If she started failing, she would get flustered. Shiharu just didn't like playing games. Preferred to spend her time cooking or reading random funny articles. Funny articles, sorry! I mispronounced that. And TV. Shiharu's guilty pleasure is to binge watch shows when she wasn't supposed to, and I forcibly blink away the thoughts. Yeah, that sounds nice. Doesn't it? What do you usually play? Like what genre? It is nice to chat with Shizeo, talk about things that doesn't remind me about school, about Shiharu. Shizeo is effervescent with her topics, hopping from one thing to another, not giving me time to be distracted by memories that are still too raw. Lunchtime turns out to be a more pleasant affair than I thought it would be. Despite my initial wariness, Shizeo is good company. It's no wonder she's so popular with the crowd. It's been nice chatting with you, Flare. But you didn't get to tell Shizeo what your favourite genre was. Maybe we can do this again sometime soon? There's something hopeful in her voice, and I don't have the heart to tell her no. Maybe this can be healthy, not brood alone every day. Maybe I can use the distraction. Yeah, sure, Thank you, Shizeo. I'd like that. Of course, always happy to spend quality time with my friend. See you around, Flare. See you, Shizeo. What are your intentions? Who is going to be the next target? The 2 new faces that we got to see at the journalism club pop into mind. After everything, just standing here in front of this place gives me a sour taste. I almost declined when I see the phone call from Shiharu's mum. I'm still not sure what surprised me more, the fact that she wants to see me or that she hasn't left Komachi yet. Bitterness rises like barn in my throat. Months of Shiharu moving here, alone, and her own mother couldn't bother to visit Shiharu. Shiharu had to be gone for someone in her own family to stay. What tragic irony. I have to take a whole 5 minutes to compose myself before hitting the buzzer. Hello? Yanagi. Hello? Hello, Miss Ishihara, it's Flare. Ah yes, hold on just a moment. Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what I was called here for. I was meant to be preparing myself to hold down on my anger over everything that involved Shahara's family, imagining myself unable to keep a cap on it and exploding at Shahara's mother. But it has been a quick ordeal. Too quick. And too fresh still. Yanagi Ishihara is implacable in her unyielding gentleness. With a smile that reminds me too painfully of Shahara's own, she passes the paperwork over the polished surface of the dining table. Paperwork? If it is not too much trouble, we would like you to take care of this estate for the duration of your stay here in Komachi. What? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This place is huge. And we're on our own as well. Like, are we going to try and impress someone with this hugely sized house to compensate for something else? I choke out, my voice faint. Yanagi's smile is entirely too reassuring. I have spoken to your parents about this. They agreed that it would be good for you. For... What do you mean closure? This is a place where Shaharu spent months in, and you're saying that this would be a good place to remisize? A place where Shaharu could... Like staying at a dead friend's house. Like, think about it. It wouldn't give you closure. It would just keep reminding you of her even more. Her voice halts at the end. Gauging my reaction to hide her own emotions, my hand closes around the paper. White-knuckled, she smiles again. All expenses will be taken care of course. And you will be paid your due too. But sudden fury makes it difficult for me to breathe. It's not money that I... No, of course not. And you don't have to accept this offer either. Just think about it, alright? She smiles at me again. Like this is of no consequences. Like she is doing a favour for me. Let your parents know your answer. They'll let me know. I need to catch my flight. The keys are by the door. Goodbye, Flare. And floats out of the excessively opulent dining room before I could utter a full sentence. The paper crumbles in my fist, and I feel a frustrated shout rip out of my throat. It comes out as a strangled sob instead. What the hell? Is this what Shahara had to deal with her whole life? This casual dismissal, this calmlessness disguised under sweet smiles and false pretense of caring, like her choices didn't matter, like her feelings were not of any kind of value. The more I think about it, the more my heart is torn between breaking and burning with rage for Shaharu. The lack of her father's presence only adds up to the horrible mess of emotions within me. Despite not liking the man, I probably would have felt a smidge of sympathy towards Shaharu's family if he had stayed. But he didn't. No, he had business to attend to. But I guess there's so many families like that. Like families always working abroad and stuff like that. They didn't even care when their daughter was killed in such terrible, mysterious circumstances. The culprit is never caught, still loose out there, and they just leave. The culprit is closer than you think. The culprit is one of the ones that spent time with you yesterday lunch, and her subordinate. Did they see Shaharu? Did they even see her in the state I saw her in? Don't they care after all? That she was probably murdered? Something breaks inside of me. Boneless, I slip off from the chair, my knees hitting the marbled floor painfully. Realization hits like a truck, leaving me dazed and hurt in a way that makes my body cease to function. Oh gods. Nobody's really out there to look into what happened to Shaharu, is there? You'd think there would be. And you left the only place that could possibly do that. Well, Ember always hold her own theories up high. Okay, when I was going through the bugged version of the new version of the game, this is the point in the game where the game itself changes into this background rather than Shaharu's death CG. So what I had to go through was a lot of time previously just talking endlessly until we get to this point. I'm thinking, I don't want to keep saying, where's the new events in the background and stuff like that. So here we go. It's easy to predict that my mood unravels quickly the following days. My body lapses into autopilot. I wake up, go to class, eat, go to Journalism Club if there's a meeting, go home. I try to avoid my parents if I can, only sitting with them at the table and answering questions as simple as I can be without being disrespectful. They are worried, of course, but I can't find it in myself to make the effort to reassure them. Come on. You gotta reassure them, because then they can help you. They know I am grieving over Shaharu, and they try to give me the space to do it, sorry. Well, at least your parents respect your decisions, and you respect theirs. For what it's worth, I'm grateful. I am so incredibly conflicted. I need to bring whoever was behind Shaharu's death to justice. I need to do that for her. But how? But what's that going to do? I left the occult club. As much as I hate to admit it, it does seem like they are the only one in the school who cares about all the mysteries surrounding Kamachi. I don't know whether Samari purposely avoids the subjects around me to spare my feelings or not, but it seems like the journalism club is blissfully ignorant about the cases we were looking into at the occult club. But I can't turn back now. I have burned that bridge with Ember, and I don't think I'll be able to work with her. But who can I turn to then? Or must I do this alone? I will do it, if I must. But even in my most desperate moments, I know I can't do this alone. There are so many layers to the story surrounding Kamachi, so many details I can't get to around Shaharu's death without help. Still, I have to start somewhere, right? The shrine? The shrine could always be a good place to start. But we're at school. Seriously, Flare, what's up with you? With everything hanging around my neck lately, needless to say I've been avoiding Shizeo. It is just difficult trying to have lunch with her like it's something normal, like everything's fine when it's not. I haven't returned much of her messages either, or stuck to mostly single word responses. So it's no surprise when Shizeo finally manages to corner me on the way to class one day. She seems worried, and I feel a slight bit guilty over it, but not enough to stop me from trying to walk around her. Shizeo isn't having any of that. Flare, come on! I know you're hurt and you're grieving, but this isn't healthy. Other than a one-shoulder shrug, I don't give her any other acknowledgement, which probably isn't the smartest move on my part, but it seems to make whatever left of Shizeo patience evaporate. With a hiss, Shizeo cuts in front of me, her eyes narrowing. You really think this is going to make anything better? You really think Shaharu would have wanted you to become like this? That snaps something open inside of me, and I immediately crowd into Shizeo's space, growling. Don't you dare say her name! You don't know what she would have wanted. Do you know why? Because she isn't here anymore. Sorry, Flare. I didn't mean to. The outburst has me gasping for breaths. My skin crawls as eyes started staring our way. I closed my eyes, counting to 10. No. I'm sorry. It's okay. I shouldn't have tried to push. But what is the intentions behind those pushings, Shizeo? I swallow dryly. I don't know how to respond to that. Or, I do, but I can't bring myself to say it, because I'm ashamed of my own reaction, or because I want to deny that it's perfectly reasonable for Shizeo to be worried. I don't know. All the words in my head, all the words I could say, vanish in my head. Deflated, I look away. Still, Shizeo stays, patient if not worried. I'm just not in the right mindset to talk to anyone right now. Oh, Flare. To my surprise, she reaches out, tentatively touching my arm. Of course not. I should have known. Though, if you need me for anything, please know that I am here for you, alright? You don't have to talk. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I know from experience that it was always better to know that there is someone out there who cares. Her words are both soothing and make shame burn low in my gut. I bob my head to Shizeo at last, unable to meet her eyes. Thank you, Shizeo. No problem. That's what friends are for, right? As the people around us start to move on with whatever they were doing, I fight against the negative trench of emotions within me, and score up the words I couldn't even say before. Shizeo, I think I need help. Oh? Of course, if there's anything I can do, I'll definitely do my best to help. No, we'll talk, But then again, do you think that might be the best decision for us? Like, if I learned anything about Shizeo, it's you don't want to be too affectionate to her because she would then be like a robot. Or you would be treated as a robot by Shizeo, like you're always choosing the best decision ever, rather than standing your own ground. Interesting. But we'll play along for now. Looking at Ernest's expression, I feel a smidge of warmth at the pit of my stomach. That spot is quickly snuffed out though, when the topic I wish to speak spills out of my mouth. I need to clear the situation around Shiharu. Flare, I know it's something difficult, and I understand if you don't want anything to do with what happened, but it was both a relief and a new worry to say it out loud. Aloud, Shizeo's face twists into something conflicted. I can't blame her. I don't have much hope of finding her helping me. Okay. It's not something pleasant for a bystander to think about, especially when the school, the town, and even Shiharu's family had made it clear that they don't want to make a big deal about it. Predictably, anger boils within me again. Alright. That makes me a double take. What? I'll see what I can do, but, be careful, alright? Shizeo, are you sure? Yes, I suppose it's the right thing to do. We probably should discuss this more privately. Do you want to give me a call sometime this weekend? As if on cue the bell chimes, I nod quickly. Yes, I'll do that. Thanks, Shizeo. Of course, Flare. Right. I haven't heard much from Shizeo since. She was talking about getting more information about everything that was going on. What exactly, I don't know. The only thing I care enough to know about is what happened to Shiharu. She has been awfully tight-lipped since. Well, if I can manage to meet up with her at all, part of me is afraid Shizeo would talk unnecessarily. She does have a tendency to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and she is always surrounded by an awful lot of people. Appear my phone interrupts the line of thought. Speaking of the devil, I think I got something, but not sure if the source is credible. My heart thuds heavily in my chest. Shizeo got a lead? Another message pops up before I can respond. I think I gotta meet up with Ember for it though. That surprised me. I takes back furiously. What? Don't pull Ember into this. Calm down, Flare XDs. Not gonna tell her stuff. Just need to collect some information, that's all. But what information, Shizeo? Isn't she all about the mobs being behind all of this anyway? Yeah, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have other info, X3. She did hide some stuff from us, right? That gives me pause. I definitely haven't looked at that angle before, so consumed by events of Shiharu's death. Still, what does that have to do with anything? Oh, Flare, XD of course. There are always so many levels to a story with problems like this one. You can't crack right into the middle of it. As they say, sometimes the most direct route is not always the wisest. I stare blankly at the cryptic text. I have an inkling that Shizeo is not telling me something. Something dark flares within me, and I can feel the beginning of a cold sweat. Are you suggesting that Ember has something to do with this? Shizeo takes a moment to respond. My anxiety crawls up and down with every moment that stupid text bubble blinks, disappears, and blinks up again. Ah, usually a silence confirms something, doesn't it now, main character? Not suggesting anything, but we do need all the information that we can get, already blinded as is. I swallowed dryly. At least that Shazeo is right about. Just don't tell her anything. I won't. Don't be a worrywart, Flare. I stare at my phone until it goes dark. Thoughts churn in my head. So Shazeo has been helping just as she promised. Something in my stomach doesn't sit right. But not at her, at myself. I really have just been brooding around without doing anything of use, huh? Thoughts form in my mind, pushing me to go to the computer, pulling up an old photo of myself and Shiharu. I back down to my lower lip, forcing away the terrible curl of sorrow and frustration. With momentous efforts, I close the picture and pull myself a blank file instead. I set out to make a list. This time I will get it done right. I feel like asking for Shizao's help is the worst thing that we could do. A lot can change in a week when one puts their mind into it. Despite my initial reluctance and negativity surrounding the issue, I accepted to watch over... Why would you do that? Did you do it on the behalf of Shiharu's mother, or... Okay. To me, this would be the opposite of closure, though. Despite my initial reluctance and negativity surrounding the issue, I accepted to watch over Ishiharu's mansion in Komachi. Both my parents are relieved that I agreed, hoping this would help me in having closure. Yanagi Ishiharu has been as courteous as when she offered me the job. She said some pain for my time, which is unnecessary, but I didn't deny it this time. If I take a bit of satisfaction knowing that if I can put up a tiny dent, no matter how insignificant, in that family's stupid fortune, but no one is the wiser. They didn't clear out her belongings after all. The room is clean and organised, almost as if Shiharu herself has done it. Bed laid fresh and untouched. Her shelves are stacked with the little trinkles and souvenirs she collected from the places she had been to. The novel she was reading stayed bookmarked on the side of her laptop. Her recipe books, covered in stickers, sits unopened at the back of the desk. Pain swells up, but I've spent enough time being tormented. I open Shiharu's desk drawers and leaf through the few items she had there. Come on, main character, you need to cry. You need to let out those emotions. The first drawer has mostly stationaries, some loose hair clips, and an ornate box with a few rings. The second drawer contains old assignments, school pamphlets and notices that were never signed by her parents. I try not to grow bitter about any of that, and move on. The third drawer has notebooks and some graded exams. Going through them, I immediately know none of those is what I'm looking for. Is it a diary that you're looking for? Shiharu is shy, and she tends to avoid topics about herself a lot. Aha! I just read down the line. But she could also ramble on without knowing whether she was oversharing or not. Because of that, I know she kept a diary. Snooping and digging around could be disrespectful to the departed, but I wasn't doing it for myself. I want to know. I need to know for sure that Shiharu wasn't hiding anything she was uncomfortable with, that nobody was bullying her or threatening her in any way. A voice in my head, sounding suspicious like Ember, tells me I'm just overthinking it, that Shiharu was just a victim of circumstances, that there wasn't much to look here. The answer is usually closer than you think. I come up empty-handed. Either Shiharu hid it really well, or someone else already took it. I'm willing to bet on the latter. Maybe I'm too late again. Shaking my head, I leave Shiharu's room and head downstairs. There are other things to look into. I can't give up yet. Yanagi Ishiharu said the mansion has security cameras at the front gate, and in some of the rooms, the cameras are all linked to the computer in the main study. The logs update automatically daily, so I was told there isn't much to do aside from the occasional checkups to make sure everything is running normally. I wonder if you should ask Yanagi about Shiharu's diary. Because Shiharu is the kind of person that is decent enough to not put it up on a website. But someone who would want to somehow splurge it in a way so that you would write it in a very, very secluded space which can only be accessed by going to that location, which would be in the form of a diary. The files are all conveniently stored by date, and there is a single folder in the entire computer. A quick scan confirms that the day Shiharu died is missing. What? That's suspicious. My heart thuds heavily in my ribcage. It's something I have anticipated. I don't know whether I'm relieved or worried that someone has gotten into the footage before me. Shizeo did mention something about Shiharu's parents hiring private detectives in secrecy. This could be the proof of that. I know I was there on the day, but there could have been more. There could have been someone else coming to see Shiharu, or Shiharu could have acted strange on that day, or... I stopped the train of thought before it could spin out of hands. Shaking my head, I checked on the files leading up to that day instead. Seeing Shiharu again, moving and living and whole, brings tears to my eyes. Seeing her putter around a vast, empty home makes me even sadder and angrier for her. If only I'd been more attentive. If only I'd spent more time with her. So caught up in grief I almost missed it when a figure pulled up to the front house, shortly after Shiharu arrived home after school. Startled, I rewind the footage. Something cold slides down my spine. It's Ember. The security cam doesn't record sounds. Frustratingly, I watch Ember through the view of the buzzer. A different angle at the gate shows Shiharu coming to the front door to talk to her. Shiharu nodded at something Ember said, then showed us something on the phone. Before Ember turned to leave, Shiharu went back to the house bin and went to her room at 10 PM. The footage ended there. Ember must have mangled with the security footage. What the hell? Ember was the last person to see Shiharu alive as far as I know, and she has also lied. The last time she saw Shiharu wasn't at school. Why did she go to see Shiharu at home? What did she say to Shiharu? Why didn't she tell us? Why did she lie? She lied to us again, and this time it involved Shiharu in her last moments. Something curdles sourly at the pit of my stomach. If Ember is somehow involved, if she is somehow the catalyst to Shiharu's death, I don't know what I would do to her. I don't know what I wouldn't do to Ember. You know, don't say that. That is the words of a sexual predator. Urgently, aside the name of course. Urgently, I shift through the other files. Ember never showed up previous to that day, but not a lot of people do. Other than myself, it was only the gardeners and maintenance workers, and the postman. Obviously the postman. Funny how Ember only visited the day before Shiharu was murdered. That is indeed strange. Funny how she decided to lie. Why did she have to lie to us if she was innocent? If she had nothing to do with what happened to Shiharu, why did she have to lie? Why did she have to bring in the mobs if they even exist? Why? Yeah, they do, because Emery kind of confirms it in a way. The second task I have set myself out to do takes a bit more time to set up. Samari, while it isn't the same kind of it girl like Shizeo, is fairly popular herself. Vice president of the journalism club, part of a debate club, and even captain of a cheerleading squad. There's always something she has to do, or someone she's with. Kanako most of the time. Interesting. It's rare to catch Samari being alone, though after carefully planning my route after school one day, I managed to intercept her on her way to the locker room from the tracks. Samari, do you have a moment? Oh, Flare, yeah, what's up? That's a nice cheerleading uniform you got on. Oh no, I just have a couple of questions. Don't worry, I'll get out of your hair soon. Purple and yellows. Opposite colours. Alright, shoot. Your father is the chief of the police here, right? Oh, that's a new renovation. Oh, yes, what's up? Do you need help with something? I paused for a moment at her genuine smile and the tinge of worry in her tone, but barrel on. No, not really. I was just wondering, do you know who might be, or was handling Shiharu's case? The changing atmosphere is abrupt. The afternoon sun no longer feels warm on my back, and the wind just becomes chillier. My eyes shift to Samara's head, worriedly rubbing her arm. Flare, my dad doesn't discuss a lot of his work with me at home. There's a good reason as to why the police does not talk about their work at home. All the work is confidential. Ah, I see. Sorry, I know. I mean, I know you want some information about everything, but it's alright, I understand. No, I mean, I understand too. I know you want closure. I'm sorry. I ignore the surge of emotions in me and force on a smile. Don't be. I didn't expect much either. I was just, you know. Samari nods. Yeah. Well, if I do find anything, I'll let you know, right? That's not what I was hoping for, but answers do seem to come easy. Don't seem to come easy, sorry. Alright. Thanks, Samari. Of course. Of course. Oh! As she walks away, Samari suddenly turns around, blinking as if she remembered something. Have you spoken to Onishi? You're friends with one of them, right? Well, technically friends with both of them. The Onishi? What do they have anything to do with that? Well, nothing specific I can say, to be honest, but I know that Dad has to report all the bigger cases to the Onishi. The head of the household is Miss Emery right now, so if you can talk to her, she might be willing to shed some light on the matter. Oh, I see. I don't know that I'll definitely ask. Thanks, Samari. No problem. See you around, Flare. Thank you, Samari. It seems like this little talk hasn't been completely fruitless after all. Yes, you got a new angle on the whole situation, an angle which you didn't consider put into place. I didn't get to speak to Shazeo until 2 weeks later. She has been doing her own project, as she puts it. There are questions I've been dying to get answers to, but I know better than to be impatient. But why are we at the cafe? The cafe that Shazeo told us about the family's experimentations over the years. But we'll dig into that kind of stuff for next time, folks. So, there is some new angles on this story if Shiharu died. If Shiharu was mutilated by Ember, if Ember was coaxed by Shazeo. If you know the story of this game, you know that went down. And it's been a few months since the full game of Missing Time has come out. So, there is this portion of the game which is yet to be released to the public as of this time of recording. Then there's also the 18 plus patch, which I will not be delving into on YouTube. But then there is also the Samari route of this game, which has yet to be released. So at the moment, at this time of recording, the only portion of the game which has been released after the full game is the time goes on scenario, which involves Shihara's death if you allowed her to die, rather than just skipping through the text. There's no way you can save Shiharu without skipping through all of the text. That's canon, really. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you all in the next time of Missing Time. Time goes on. Have a lovely day and take care of yourselves.